So first of all, I'd like to take you down the road to my life in the past. So when I first came to the US, I was very young. I was about this tall, probably, very tall. So it was a different experience for me because me coming from India, I didn't really know what to expect, and I didn't know what an airplane was until I had gotten on one. And when I first came to the US, I remember very clearly seeing this huge contraption of moving stairs. I didn't know what it was called. Can any of you take a guess? It was an escalator. And on the bottom was my dad, staring up at me and my mom. And we hadn't seen him in a couple years, 3, 4 years. So it was the first time for me seeing my dad there. And it was different because it was like this new beginning that was starting. And I was afraid to, get on the escalator because I didn't know, I didn't understand it. It was so new to me, coming from a civilization where there was not much technology. It was all kind of new to me. So just taking that step forward, I didn't realize it then, but over the years I've realized it was a new beginning for me, a new start. And after that, one of the big things that kind of has shaped my life really is the whole language barrier. When I first came to the US, I didn't know how to speak English. I barely understood what anyone said, but I went to school every day trying to learn the language, trying to communicate with others. So there was a huge language barrier that didn't really allow me to kind of be a part of the team like everyone was. Like, be a part of something greater, be a part of this awesome community that these students were fostering that I saw. During recess, I would try to be a part of something, but it just didn't work out because of this whole language barrier. During lunch, I would sit by myself and kind of, just figure out some way, how can I really get included in this? Over the years, I started picking up the language slowly. My dad and my mom really kind of pushed it. They put me in some learning classes to really pick it up. And I started to move a lot, and I had to adapt to a lot of changes, new faces, new people. My dad, being a software engineer, we moved around a lot. I first started in Texas, moved to Wisconsin, LA, Sunnyvale, and NorCal, and then I stayed in Cupertino, where I went to high school the longest. Now I'm back here in SoCal and Irvine, and I love it here. But the whole situation of moving, I've really had to adapt from one place to the other. Just when I thought I was getting to the fullest potential of where I could be, I had to move and kind of start all over again. So that's something that's really shaped my life, and everything that kind of has affected me, the whole idea of being excluded, not really being part of a team, and just kind of being left out. I didn't want to see that happen to other people. I didn't want other people to feel the same way I did. So I found myself, as I was in middle school and high school, started transitioning, I found myself really trying to include as many people as possible in everything I do, really talking to people and taking that initiative, the extra step to making sure that they're welcome and that they feel like they're a part of something greater. Everyone wants to matter, but there's very few people out there who actually reach out, and I think it's safe to say that it is important to reach out to these people because they do get left behind, and I really didn't want anyone to be kind of left behind. And in my high school, I experienced one of the most fantastic movements with my class of 2010. At every high school, you have spirit rallies and everything. Our school at Cupertino High School, we had huge spirit rallies where each class would have a theme assigned to them, like Disney or Transformers, and you had like a month to prepare, make huge posters, make it really more of a show where you're competing against each other for this huge spirit bell at the end of the year. It was literally a large spirit bell. It was very heavy to move. It took like 6 people to move. I remember I got hit by it once, and I was just like, oh my God, my leg hurts. So every class would compete during these spirit rallies, and at the end of each one, you'd get first, second, third, or fourth, and you'd get points. And at the end, you'd get the spirit bell. And it's usually always the senior class that wins, because seniority, juniority, it works its way down, right? But something that happened with our class was this whole concept of competition between classes turned into school unity. Our class was able to transform this idea of everyone fending for themselves into something together where a unity came out of it, right? My year of graduation, none of the classes were competing against each other. Everyone was cheering each other on, It was like, welcome freshmen to Cupertino High School. It wasn't go seniors, it wasn't go juniors. It was go sophomores, go Cupertino High School. It was all about school spirit. And all of you may be wondering, how did that all start exactly? So to talk a little bit about that, our class, not unlike any other class, we didn't want to just go to school every day, be done with high school, move on to college. A lot of the students, especially starting with our leadership council, we wanted to leave a legacy behind at our school. So what we did was we started talking to students. We started really engaging students in what did they want from this class opportunity? What did they want to do as a team? And together, we came up with this idea that we wanted to really leave a legacy behind at Cupertino High School. And we did that in many ways than one that we had wanted to. We did it through uniting the school together for a common cause, and we established Kenya Dream, which is a nonprofit that we founded together as a class that fundraises money to renovate schools in Kenya, Africa, to do restoration projects, to really provide students with a better quality education. Obviously, as many of you know, there's a lot of poverty in Africa, and there's a lot of not-for-profits addressing these issues. But as an organization, as a high school class, this is something we wanted to take up on ourselves and to see where we could make it go. And we realized that, as soon as we had an idea, 97% of our class signed a petition saying they're willing to give up all their junior and senior prom funds to donate all this money to this cause. They're willing to support it. Usually classes fundraise money for these senior proms so that they can have all these extravagant balls and everything. Our class made that sacrifice, and it was really inspiring to see. It was really, my role in high school, I experienced a lot of things, but I felt more of an observer, observing these things happening, really learning from it, taking everything I could, and kind of, which helps me where I am today. And one of the things that our class has always tried to do is listen to what students had to do and really make them feel like they mattered, right? That's one of the big things that I really liked about Kenya Dream is, when I first got involved with it, I started a Kenya Dream team at Cupertino High School. It was a small group of students who were really interested in kind of taking this to a whole new level, who were really captivated by the idea that this could be something big. A small group, but eventually we expanded to a class project, right? Because people knew this was going big. People knew that with the right people, talking to everyone, getting people involved, really getting to know each other on a personal level, and then connecting what their passion is somehow back to Kenya Dream, like relating it back to them so that they feel they're a part of it, was something that was really big and captivating to everyone. So this grew into a class project, and soon, with all the school unity, it grew into a school project. That was one of the big movements that I got to be a part of and experience as a student at Cupertino High School, and being part of Kenya Dream. And one of the big things that you probably kind of could tell already is it matters to listen, and listening, taking what you hear from all the students and making them feel like they're a part of this movement, making them feel that they have the significance is really big, and it can really trigger a lot of these changes. In our 4 years, we were able to build a lot of great relationships. We did benefit concerts with youth symphonies. We did dance showcases with some of the best, America's best dance crews. And we were able to raise close to $100,000 for this nonprofit cause. We were able to partner with Rotary International and different organizations like that to work closely with them to do these service projects. And that was one of the biggest things that you don't normally get to be a part of. And learning all this, learning all these different lessons, mainly the idea of listening and mattering, making people matter, is something that I took with me. And when I came to UC-Irvine, I tried to figure out what I wanted to do. My entire first quarter was about kind of figuring out what, I'm a computer science major, but what exactly does that entail? I'm a very social person, and I do want to get involved on campus. So being computer science, things don't really go together. So I found myself saying, so how do I work this out? And I realized, Kenya Dream was such a big part of me that I felt, over my summer, I was already starting to feel it. But when I got to UCI, my entire first quarter, I felt like something was taken from me. Something didn't feel right. Like I wasn't part of something big anymore, this movement. So instead of kind of, letting that let me down, I decided to start one. I started a branch at UC-Irvine my first year, and one of the big things that I took from my high school was listening to what students wanted and making them matter. So I talked to a lot of my friends. I told them about it. I talked to them about their passions. I really broke down that barrier where it's just like, hi, I'm Nithin, you're you, I'm this, you're that, let's go. Like, we'll see each other some other time, right? I really broke down that barrier and got to know them on a personal level, that I was able to really understand what their feelings were and what they wanted to see, and really what was it that would get them involved, right? What was it that they're passionate about, and how can I take that and find a way for them to include in Can They Dream, right? So I built a team of 27 students, all first years except 2 upperclassmen, and I was really able to kind of teach them everything I knew about Can They Dream, because they were all new to it, and I was able to learn from them what they wanted to see from Can They Dream the next year. That was the big thing, and they all felt like they mattered, and together, 8 months of planning, we put on one of the biggest events UCI has ever seen. We put on a dance showcase. We do it in NorCal every year. I brought it down to SoCal, and a group of 27 freshmen, mostly freshmen, that's something you don't see every day. And we made a huge impact on campus. It's like UCI has over 600 campus organizations. How do you differentiate yourself as a campus organization starting new? Is it that do you work your way up? Do you do small events where you're fundraising, where you're getting yourself out there, or do you do something big and really just kind of put yourself out there, right? And as a team, even though none of us really knew how the campus worked, we were willing to work together. We were willing to really make sure that everyone was included to really make this something big. And that's one of the huge things that I really learned, is that to listen to what people have to say and take their ideas into consideration, and do something better the next time, and really make them feel like they matter. And you'll find that once you listen to people and make them feel like they're a part of something, you don't have to worry about making sure that things happen. It's just that it kind of has a life of its own and just moves forward with itself. So with that, I want to invite you all today, to take a minute of your time, today and every day. Every morning, I say to myself, today I'm going to start off my day right. I'm going to make sure I listen, and I'm going to make sure I consider everything I do that includes everyone. I want to invite you all to kind of do that as a self-assessment, every day, to just kind of think about all these people that you're talking to and all these relationships that you're building, and really, instead of just getting to know them as a hi, I'm you, you're this kind of thing, just to really break down that barrier and kind of build that personal connection and get to know them better. Get to know what their strengths are, so you can somehow find a way to connect better, and really get to make sure that they're included as well as that you're being included as well. So that there's this spirit of notion that you can do something, right? And the ideas of listening and mattering, like these two put together, it triggers a lot of action. We've seen phenomenal results from our class project. We've seen phenomenal results in our school itself, like all this school unity that's just there. And even now, there's all this school unity. You don't see classes competing, you see school unity, right? Which is something that's hard to come up with. So I really encourage you all to kind of take that into consideration and just kind of make sure that you're always listening and also including everyone to do your best. Thank you.